What is up, Bar Tribe? Dave Allred, TheRealBarman here. Today, I want to quickly answer a question I've received multiple times by email, both from the Real Bar Course students and from many of you who are still thinking about becoming a bartender. So let's pull up one of those emails. This one's from Izzy, and the title or the subject line basically says it all right there. Thoughts about learning bartending in the current climate. And I'm not going to read you the whole email. You can pause the video if you want to do that. The meat of it is down here where it says, what is your opinion of bartending in the near future? As in, is bartending a viable gig to do in the coming months? Less opportunities for beginning bartenders? And of course, what Izzy is referring to is COVID, and is it even worth it to learn how to bartend during this time when bars are shut down and restaurants are operating by takeout only or in a very limited seating fashion? So here's where I differ from most people. All right, this is where I zig when most people zag. In fact, the zaggers make up 95% of the population. They're the sheep, and they operate on one emotion, and that emotion is fear. All right, and it's because our brains are wired to survive at all costs. This goes all the way back to the caveman days. All right, when the reptilian part of the brain's only job was to make sure you live and survive no matter what. All right, does that sound far-fetched to you? It's not. Our instinct is to survive and avoid pain and danger. Okay, and now you're like, well, that's just awesome, Dave. Thanks for the history lesson. I didn't know I was going to the museum to learn about the Paleolithic era today. WTF does that have to do with bartending? Well, glad you asked. The answer is it has more to do with the climate we're living in today and the actions you choose to take. Do you want to know why the top 5% own 80% of the world's wealth, while the other 95% of you fight to share the scraps? Because during times like COVID or the market crash of 2008, the successful, the 5%, take counterintuitive actions. And what that means is, while the 95% are panicking and selling off their stocks, the 5% are buying stocks. And while the 95% are watching the news and lamenting how horrible and scary life is, the 5% are making things happen. They're moving, they're shaking. They're looking for new opportunities. They're starting new businesses. They're making things grow. All right, they're doing the opposite of what their reptile brain is telling them to do, which is to hunker down and hide somewhere and survive until the sun comes out again. The problem is, when the sun does come out and everything's rosy again, the 5% are miles ahead of you, accumulating more wealth and success while you sit on your couch eating Cheetos and complaining that the rich are a bunch of selfish douchebags and they should be taxed more to pay for things you want, like more Cheetos and an Xbox. And listen, if that's you, if you want to live in the 95% and just follow along and survive, that's fine. All right, no judgment here, really. I just don't want you to be sitting on your porch when you're 90 years old, looking back at your life with regrets because you just survived. You never really lived. People who take chances and take action live an exciting and rich life. That's all I'm saying. Which finally, in a very roundabout way, brings us back to the question, should you try to become a bartender in this climate? Or should you just hunker down and survive like everyone else does, wait for a less scary time, and then try to go out and become a bartender? Well, I'll tell you what I've been telling the people who email me. There has never been a more powerful time to learn new skills and take new action than when there's a hardship on society. Because the other people, the other 95%, they become fearful and they become frozen in time. I learned this years ago from my brother-in-law, who's now my business partner. All right, he was and is in that 5%. All right, I'm doing exactly what I told you. I'm learning new skills online. I've made new investments, which have already paid off in a big way, while everyone else huddles under the kitchen table and complains about how unfair life is. Now, here's another truth for you to think about as you broach the idea of becoming a bartender. During this time, thousands of bartenders were laid off. All right, which means those people need to figure out a new way to make money, so they've moved on so they can figure out how to do that. Now, many of them might be hired back once the pendulum starts to swing back the other way toward normal, all right? But many of them are just gonna follow the path they found and continue on, all right? Which means bars and restaurants are gonna need to hire new people. So if you're putting in time now to study and learn a new profession and turn in resumes to managers while everyone else is hiding, who do you think they're going to think of when it comes time to start hiring people again? Who's going to have the advantage? The person they've already met and whose face is familiar and who's following up with them again and again? or the person who just decided now that it might be a good idea to learn how to bartend? Who has the advantage? The 5% or the 95%? Who would you hire? You already know the answer. Does that make sense? Okay, I hope so, and I hope during this time of opportunity that you and your loved ones are staying safe. I hope this video helped you figure some things out. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to do so now so you and I don't miss out on any of these beautiful moments that you and I share. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. I appreciate you being here. I'm going to see you next time. I'm out.